Why I don't weigh myself anymore. When I was a child, the weighing scale seemed almost magical to me. Each time I would see one, I would be itching to jump on it and just learn that one thing about my body. When I was walking through Nairobi town, going to catch a matatu to uni, I would see those guys like weighing machines lined up on the street. All I needed was some few coins to measure my weight, but I didn't want to share that experience with them. It felt like a private thing. So for as long as I can remember, I wanted one of those scales for my home. I think the first time I bought a weighing scale was when I was maybe 3 months pregnant. I had been seeing them at Miniso for quite a while, but I always hesitated to buy one. I found an excuse each time. It was either too expensive, it really wasn't. I wouldn't find space for it. Really, Sally, it's the size of your laptop, so that's a lie. Or my favorite excuse, I didn't need to always know how much I weighed. It didn't matter. Lol. Anyway, when I was 3 months pregnant, I confidently walked into Miniso and picked one up. Why did I finally think that this was the perfect time to get one? Well, I was pregnant. My weight was definitely going to change. I was going to get bigger. Spoiler alert. I was insecure, but I tried to put a positive spin on it, I guess. I wanted to see just how much weight I would add and how beautifully it would melt away after my baby was born. It was a game that I did not want to admit I would lose. I couldn't lose, right? My weight hadn't changed much in the time prior to my pregnancy. I was stuck at 60 kgs for quite a while. I wore that number as a badge of honor, I guess. I marveled at the consistency of my body, considering that I wasn't really doing anything deliberate to maintain that weight. When my husband proposed back in 2018, I set out some goals to achieve before our wedding. One of them being to maintain that weight and tone my body. It was as if the universe remembered me immediately that thought crossed my mind. I became fully aware of my body and all the areas it was beginning to bulge. Suddenly, clothes felt tighter, my arms felt flabbier, my thighs were vibrating more than usual. Was that a roll that was beginning to form on my stomach? Wait, was I adding weight? I decided to go to the gym and avert any incoming disaster. My wedding dress was already being made, so no time to change measurements now. The gym had a scale tucked behind a wall. When you stood on it, your eye met a catchy message stuck on the wall. I can't really remember what it said. All I knew is that it didn't apply to me. I didn't need a motivational quote about accepting my weight. I was okay with it. Lol. First day on the scale, my weight clocked 60 kgs. I must have spent 3 months in the gym doing leg work, arm strengthening, core building, and all that good stuff. But nothing changed. Every couple of weeks, I would go to the weighing scale tucked behind that wall, and the number was always the same. It didn't go down, but it didn't go up either. Was I pleased? Well, I don't think so. I did feel stronger, but I also convinced myself that the little I did averted some sort of made-up crisis. When the big day arrived, I was so pleased that my dress fit like a glove. Well, in all honesty, it was a little bit tight. I felt 2 ribs as I entered the car that would take me to my wedding. It's not something that a bride wants to feel for sure, but for some reason, it didn't matter. I was going to marry the love of my life. By the time the day ended, I counted maybe 2 or 3 more ribs. It still didn't matter. Maybe deep down in my subconscious, I knew that my body was changing, but it didn't matter as much as the precious moment I was in. I was getting married, ripped dress or not. For the first 3 months of my pregnancy, my weight didn't change much. I still recognized my body in the mirror. By the time I was 7 months along, my weight was in a free fall. I think I was adding maybe 2 kgs every month. I would stand on that little pink scale and see that number go up. But I mean, it made sense. I was growing a whole new human inside my body. What did I expect? Towards the end of my pregnancy, we attended bath class. During one session, the instructor passed around a little bag with some water bottles. It was heavy. She said that was equivalent to the weight we were carrying around in our bodies. She also handed out some leaflets, and there was one line in that booklet that she gave us that said, on average, a pregnant woman adds around 12 kgs throughout her pregnancy. This is attributed to the baby, the placenta, amniotic fluid, and all the extra blood that's flowing through your body. I left that session feeling quite proud. My body was magical, somehow accommodating all this newness with grace. By the time I gave birth, I was 72 kgs, exactly at that 12 kg mark. For sure, once I was done, surely I'd go back to the 60 kgs, right? Wow. For weeks after I gave birth, I would steal a glance at the mirror and look at my body. My tummy was odd. It looked dark and deflated, much like a balloon 1 week after the party was over. I kept looking at that weighing scale that lay gathering dust under my dressing table. I didn't want to pick it up. I didn't want it to tell me what I already knew. I definitely hadn't lost any significant pregnancy weight. Maybe next month? I kept pushing it from month to month, telling myself that the longer I wait, the more impressed I would be by the change. Was I doing anything specific to lose the weight though? No. In October, 5 months after I'd given birth, I decided to dust that scale and step on it. I was turning 28 in a few days, and I had started wearing some of my older clothes. Those that I wore before my belly quadrupled in size. My C-section scar was not tender. I hadn't felt it in a long time. I was sleeping better. I was eating better. It's now time to see where I was at. 67 kgs. Well, definitely a loss, but not the number I was waiting for. Listen, I'm sure you're thinking that I was quite naive. You're right. Although I knew that pregnancy weight just doesn't disappear, I secretly hoped it would for me. Why? Was I special in any way? No. I was just optimistic. I never truly had to work at my weight before. And honestly, I didn't want to. Previously, I just went with the flow. And this time I realized that wouldn't cut it. So I took the step towards exercising. I hate sweating. I particularly hate the burning sensation that one gets in their lungs from even the tiniest bit of strenuous exercising. I was used to low impact exercises. That is prenatal yoga, walking 3 kilometers or the odd 5Ks here or there. But actual exertion completely puts me off. I'm not sure how my husband does it. He wakes up to run at the crack of dawn most days in the week, and he comes back happy. That's just pure sorcery. Was this what I had to do to get back to my preferred number on that scale? Well, I tried. I started walking for longer. This worked for 1 or 2 days, but I quickly learned that the midday sun was not my friend. Unfortunately, that's the only time my daughter napped for a long time. I had to change tack. I found a pool nearby. I like swimming. I always have. It's the one form of exercise that I actually do not mind. Maybe it's because I don't feel the sweat on my face, or that I learned how to control my breath, so now I don't have to gasp for air. Surely 3 or 4 sessions of this would help my body get in shape and drop that number on the scale, right? And I did. I swam for almost 2 months straight, 2 to 3 days a week, 30 minutes at a time. I held out. I did not pick that scale, at least not yet. I did look at the mirror. My tummy stopped looking like a deflated balloon. It looked more like a really old pillow, wrinkly, uneven, but definitely not big. I joke that I can pack it in a high-waisted trouser and it looks firmer and flatter. Let's not even talk about my boobs. Since I didn't prefer wearing a bra at home, who does? I would tuck my t-shirt under my breast to avoid feeling them rub against my stomach. They didn't used to do that before, and I wasn't a fan right now. Anyway, after 2 months, I took out the weighing scale and held my breath. 66 kgs. Are you kidding me? Don't read this and think I didn't try to change the most important part of this whole journey, the food. Those who truly know me know that I love my food. I cook every day and I love trying new recipes. I don't really eat junk food or fast food. I have nothing against it. I just don't seek it out. I'm also not a sweet tooth, so no cakes in spite of my absolute love for baking. No fizzy drinks or ice cream for me either. During those cold months when I didn't feel like going to the pool to freeze, I decided to go on a diet. That was my very first diet. Keto. It wasn't very different from what I usually ate. I just had to give up a few things, like my honey, I love honey, rice, and my beloved ugali. I had heard great things about the magic of keto, so I stocked up my fridge and dove right in. A month later, I stood on the scale, 66 kgs. For the first time in a really long time, it didn't matter. What I failed to notice all this time as I was focusing on the scale is that I'd actually gotten comfortable with my body. I didn't notice that I didn't need to tuck my shirt under my breasts anymore. I didn't notice that I bought clothes that actually fit instead of trying out clothes that I wanted to fit. I didn't even notice that I liked the fullness in my thighs. I didn't notice that I felt sexy in a bikini, something I'd never felt before. I didn't notice that I had found myself again, a different version, a better version even. Why did that number bother me so much? I told myself that I wanted to start at the same weight for all my future pregnancies. That way, by the time I was done giving birth, my body would just go back to normal. That was just insanity. Who sets goals like that? Why did I expect my body to go back to normal after such a transformative process in my life? That process was normal. Everything that happened since that process is normal. My weight is normal. My body is normal. It's not new. It's just doing its job. The weighing scale still lies under my dressing table. My daughter occasionally sees it, pulls it out, and tries to step on it. She can't get on it easily though, not just yet. So I help her out. She doesn't know what it does. She also doesn't know why mommy obsessed with this thing for so long. Maybe the more used to it she gets, the less obsessed she would be about it, the less obsessed about her weight she would be. I don't know. So no, I don't weigh myself anymore. I don't see the need to. Just like that morning when I felt my dress rip as I headed to my wedding, I simply don't care. I have more important things to take care of.